In this video, we are going to discuss an important property of a communication cable. This property is known as characteristic impedance. Characteristic impedance is a fundamental property of a communication cable. It determines how signals propagate along the cable. In electrical power systems, the transmitted signals are normally 50 Hz AC or DC. But in communication systems, we transmit high-frequency signals. These high-frequency signals interact with the electrical properties of the cable. A typical communication cable consists of three main parts. First, there is a central conductor. Second, there is an outer metallic shield. And between these two conductors, there is an insulating material also called the dielectric. Because of this structure, the cable possesses distributed capacitance. The inner conductor and the outer shield act like the two plates of a capacitor. At the same time, when high-frequency current flows through the conductor, it also produces a magnetic field around the conductor. Because of this magnetic field, the cable also has distributed inductance. So a communication cable has both distributed capacitance and distributed inductance along its entire length. Due to these distributed parameters, the cable offers an impedance to the traveling signal. This impedance is known as the characteristic impedance of the cable. In simple words, characteristic impedance is the ratio of the traveling voltage wave to the traveling current wave along the cable. Now, when we connect communication equipment to a cable, the equipment will also have its own internal impedance, characteristic impedance, and the impedance of the receiving equipment do not match properly, then part of the signal gets reflected back towards the source. This phenomenon is called signal reflection. Signal reflection causes distortion of the transmitted signal. As a result, the received communication signal becomes weak or corrupted. To avoid this problem, we always try to match the characteristic impedance with the impedance of the communication equipment. That is why, during the selection or purchase of a communication cable, we must always check its characteristic impedance value. Proper impedance matching ensures minimum signal reflection and efficient signal transmission. Now, the characteristic impedance of a communication cable mainly depends on two factors. First, the geometry of the cable. That means the diameter of the inner conductor and the diameter of the outer shield. Second, the dielectric property of the insulating material placed between these conductors. So the physical dimensions of the cable and the dielectric constant of the insulation together determine the characteristic impedance. In the next part of this video, we will derive the mathematical expression of characteristic impedance. Through that derivation, we will clearly understand how the cable geometry and insulation material determine the characteristic impedance of the cable. Before going into the mathematical derivation, let us first see some typical values of characteristic impedance used in communication cables. Different applications use different impedance values. For example, coaxial radio frequency cables generally have 50 ohm characteristic impedance. This is because most radio frequency transmitters and receivers are designed for 50 ohm impedance matching. Television coaxial cables usually have 75 ohm characteristic impedance because television receivers typically have 75 ohm input impedance. Ethernet twisted pair cables generally have 100 ohm to 120 ohm characteristic impedance, depending on the standard used in the communication network. Telephone communication cables historically have a characteristic impedance of approximately 600 ohm because traditional telephone equipment was designed for 600 ohm systems. Now, in the next section of this video, we will start the mathematical derivation. There, we will clearly see how the inductance per unit length and capacitance per unit length of the cable determine the characteristic impedance. And finally, we will obtain the expression that shows how cable geometry and dielectric properties decide the characteristic impedance of a communication cable. Suppose a communication cable has an inner conductor whose diameter is small d. The cable also has an outer conductor which acts as the metallic shield. The inner diameter of this shield conductor is capital D. The space between the outer surface of the inner conductor and the inner surface of the outer shield conductor is filled with a dielectric insulation material. The dielectric permittivity of this insulation system is denoted by epsilon. This epsilon is the product of epsilon naught and epsilon r. Here, epsilon naught is the absolute permittivity of vacuum, which is also approximately equal to the permittivity of air, and epsilon r is the relative permittivity of the dielectric medium placed between the conductors. Similarly, the magnetic permeability of the medium is denoted by mu. Now, we shall first calculate the capacitance per unit length of the cable. For this purpose, let us assume that the inner conductor carries a charge of q coulomb per unit length. Now, by applying Gauss's law, the electric field at any radius r from the center of the cable can be written as E of r equals q divided by 2 pi epsilon r. Since the permittivity of the dielectric medium is epsilon equals epsilon 0 into epsilon r, we can rewrite the electric field expression as E of r equals q divided by 2 pi epsilon 0 epsilon r into r. Now, the potential difference between the inner conductor and the outer conductor can be obtained by integrating the electric field. The limits of integration will be from d by 2, which is the radius of the inner conductor, to capital D by 2, which is the inner radius of the outer conductor. Therefore, we can write V equals integration from small d by 2 to capital D by 2 of E of r into dr. Now, substituting the expression of E of r, we obtain V equals integration from small d by 2 to capital D by 2 of q divided by 2 pi epsilon 0 epsilon r into dr. If we evaluate this integration, the final expression becomes V equals q divided by 2 pi epsilon 0 epsilon r multiplied by natural logarithm of capital D divided by small d. Here we are not showing the intermediate mathematical steps of the integration. You can easily verify the calculation yourself in your exercise book. Now, we know the fundamental relation between charge, voltage and capacitance, which is C equals Q divided by V. Therefore, the capacitance per unit length of the cable can be written as C equals Q divided by V. Substituting the value of V in this expression, we finally obtain C equals 2 pi epsilon 0 epsilon r divided by natural logarithm of d by d. So, this is the capacitance per unit length of a coaxial cable. Now, we will derive the expression of inductance of the cable per unit length. For that, let us consider that capital I is the current flowing through the inner conductor. From Ampere's law, the magnetic field at radius small r can be written as h of small r equals I divided by 2 pi r. Now we know that the magnetic flux density is B equals mu h. So we can write B of small r equals mu I divided by 2 pi r. Now the total magnetic flux linkage of the conductor per unit length can be written as phi equals integration from small d by 2 to capital D by 2 of B of small r into dr equals integration from small d by 2 to capital D by 2 of mu into I divided by 2 pi r into dr. After completing the integration, we ultimately get phi equals mu I divided by 2 pi into natural logarithm of capital D by small d. Now we know that the inductance can be written as L equals phi by capital I. So we can write L equals mu divided by 2 pi into natural logarithm of capital D by small d. Now we have obtained the expression of capacitance per unit length of the cable, as well as the expression of inductance per unit length of the cable. The capacitance per unit length is given by C equals 2 pi epsilon 0 epsilon r divided by natural logarithm of capital D by small d, and the inductance per unit length is given by L equals mu divided by 2 pi multiplied by natural logarithm of capital D by small d. Now we know that the characteristic impedance of a cable is defined as Z0 equals whole root of capital L by C. Now substituting the expressions of L and C in this equation, we can write Z0 equals square root of mu divided by 2 pi multiplied by natural logarithm of capital D by small d divided by 2 pi epsilon 0 epsilon r divided by natural logarithm of capital D by small d. Now we simplify this expression. After simplification, we obtain Z0 equals 1 divided by 2 pi multiplied by square root of mu divided by epsilon 0, epsilon r, multiplied by natural logarithm of capital D by small d. It can be experimentally verified that the square root of mu divided by epsilon 0 is approximately equal to 377 ohms. Therefore, the practical expression of characteristic impedance of a communication cable becomes Z0 equals 60 divided by square root of epsilon r multiplied by natural logarithm of capital D by small d. Now from this expression, we can clearly understand two important things. First, if we increase the spacing between the inner conductor and the outer shield, that means if we increase the thickness of the insulation, then the ratio capital D by small d increases. Since the impedance is proportional to the natural logarithm of capital D by small d, the characteristic impedance increases. Second, if the dielectric constant, that is epsilon r, of the insulating material increases, then the characteristic impedance decreases, because epsilon r appears in the denominator inside the square root. Therefore, we can finally conclude that the characteristic impedance of a cable is determined mainly by the geometry of the cable and the dielectric property of the insulating medium placed between the conductors.